Hey, everybody, welcome to a new episode of Inside the Mind of Milos Sarcev, brought to you by JYM Supplement Science, starring one of the greatest pro bodybuilders of this generation or any other, now one of the greatest coaches in the bodybuilding world. Please welcome Milos Sarcev. How are you, Milos?
Thank you, Ron, for having me here again. Now, for the first time, I have my Gym Army shirt, so I'm representing fully.
Right on. Yeah, I don't have one, but that's okay.
Yeah, you have to ask. You'll get one.
I'm trying to match everything with I got the red theme going on.
Yeah, you're color coordinated. That's good.
I have a lot of questions for you, Milos. If you're ready,
yes.
This is the one I really want to ask you. I've been wanting to ask you this for a long time. So it's been said your training nutrition protocols are only effective for enhanced bodybuilders and would be a terrible idea for natural athletes. Do you need to be on PEDs to see good results from the giant sets and the intra-workout nutrition that you're always talking about?
Okay, this is a perfect question that I already addressed so many times, and I want to really go into detail, so maybe we can finish this once and for all, and I really want to be for real.
Okay.
So I'm going to start from myself, right?
Yeah.
When I trained for 7 years, I trained naturally. So you take Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, Kevin LeBron, anybody else. Do you guys consider that we did naturally for years before we touched the steroids, right? Even though nowadays, probably some guys decide to use the steroids the first time that they step the foot in the gym. That's a big difference.
I just got to interject. I know Ronnie was natural for years. I don't think Jay was natural for very long. I don't.
We can ask him. And next time I see him, I'll ask him. Okay. But put it this way. Dennis James, Chris Cormier, and Tony Freeman. Yesterday we were on a podcast and we talk about exactly that thing. I mean, but just in general, none of us started, right? But when I did naturally and then switched into the steroids, do you think that actually I changed my training program because now I'm on steroids?
Maybe.
No.
Oh.
I mean, that didn't even, cross my mind that I was now supposed to train differently. The only thing, I have a maximal stimulation of muscle fibers through my training, maximal nutrition, maximal supplementation, maximal recovery, everything. Now I'm just bringing maximal anabolic pharmacological potentiation. That's it. But Ronnie Coleman was drug-free until 1995. Kai Green, very well, reached that level. Mike Ashley, I believe, 1,000,000%. The Paul Jean Guillaume, they reached that level naturally. Now, let's just take this away from bodybuilding. Now, let's go to any other elite sports as far as like Olympic athletes in every sport. Every Olympic athlete, they are, possibly beating the drug test because they did that before, but majority, right?
Yeah,
are doing naturally. They don't cross, their mind to cheat. How many hours a day do they train? 6, 7, 8. Okay. Somebody talk about Mike Phelps, right? He was training 7 days a week, 6, 7 hours a day. Okay. To put things in perspective, when many of these naturals come with, but you cannot train with this kind of intensity. It's overtraining. You need to recover. You need to, scale it down. What?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you, first time I stepped in a Gym Army gym in offices of, Mike McCarroll. He was training and I get in and say, oh, perfectly. What are you training? Arms. And this video is on the YouTube. I immediately jump in and take him through the crazy workout, and he survived. Yesterday, 2 days ago, I just went to the office, and there was Stefan River Clark. He's an all-time natural. He's a gym athlete. Never saw me, never knew really nothing about me. And he said, okay, we are making a new Milos survival series with the gym supplements. Okay, so I just told Mike and Vince, okay, bring me a fresh meat, bring me sacrificial lamb, right? Bring me somebody that I'm just going to be able to really destroy. And here it is. And I would want you to see what this guy did. He's going to be soon on I train him exactly the same thing, like I would train Regan or Logan or Dennis James, Dennis Falk. I put him in the fire, and he survived. And you're gonna see this. I mean, this is really what bothers me, that they believe, and this is a notion nowadays, less is better, don't overtrain. So it's a touchy subject, but as far as I remember, Ron, you were a long time natural.
Yeah.
For how long?
14 years, 13 years.
Okay, so that's beyond excessive, right? This is so when you finally started, did you first think of changing your training style?
Nope. No.
You didn't change a thing.
No.
Okay, you only got a little bit stronger. So the only thing in equation is, you know, this is performance enhancement. So you're going to be stronger. So you're going to be able to lift heavier weight, but intensity is not going to change. And as a matter of fact, you know, all these guys, right? They're doing it naturally for so long. Okay, so long. Olympic athletes, mixed martial artists. I mean, I went to UFC and I said, these guys training submission, striking, weightlifting, conditioning, running. I mean, don't overtrain because you're natural. You're going to your side of testing and you're natural. So really, I mean, seriously. So how come a society became so fucking gray and mediocre and everything? And if anybody's trying to reach some higher goals, it's no, don't do it. Let me pull you back down. You shouldn't. You're natural. Milos training is not for you, really.
Well, I don't think the intensity is a factor. Like I trained just as hard when I was natural. I did, but I was able to train, I think, longer. Like I could train longer in the workout, do more sets, more reps, more exercises without getting as tired. It gave me better endurance, and it definitely enhanced my recovery where, you know, it didn't take me like a week to recover from a leg workout anymore. I could hit legs again in 3 days. It enhanced the recovery. And I think that's what I'm getting at with the question is, you know, your style of training is very, very demanding. Those giant sets are so brutal.
So it's very interesting. I mean, and you said that, then I mean, I don't know if you even believe in yourself that this is what it is, or you just, you know, get the, you know, that idea, maybe you felt it. I'm training a Chinese guy, drug-free, natural for life.
Yeah.
And literally speaking, Tony, I expose him every training because he started pissing me off. I do some crazy workout and he breezes through it. Twice a day, 6 days a week. I mean, twice each body part. Not like you say, like it's naturally it's going to take you, you know, 1 week to recover, but here you could do it. This guy was like a prime example. I mean, I'm serious. And he taped every single workout. Honestly, if I have to now confess and put something like in the envelope, this guy shocked me. And I know 100% he's, you know, drug-free. Now, it's not like drug-free and weak. This guy, he has that mentality, okay, whatever my coach tells me, I'm going to do it. So realistically, I can say, okay, 3 plates on a hack squat would be good. He's breezing through. I go 4 and a 5 and a 6 and a 7. And then did a squats. He never squatted more than 2 plates. We did 4 plates for 10.
Wow.
Bend over rows, T-bar rows. So he never did more than 3. He did 7 plates with me. This guy, Stefan, never ever in his life he did a 6 plates bend over T-bar rows. He did it with me, or 5 plates deadlifts and stuff like that. First time in his life, because now his mindset was, okay, I'm in and I'm going to go for it. Most of these people that are listening to this, if you already have that excuse, I am inferior, I don't have a anabolic support. First, you chose not to have anabolic support. So stick to it, be proud of it, and do it naturally, right?
Yeah.
But are you going to blame all these other guys? I wanted to maximize every aspect of bodybuilding so I can compete with Ronnie Coleman and Kevin and Flax and Sean. So I was drug-free until I realized that, oh, if you want to, you know, play with the big boys, you have to do what big boys do. I mean, I don't know, it took you 13 years, you know, but in any way. So to answer your question completely, honestly, and not sarcastically, absolutely positively, drug-free athletes, if they consider every aspect of nutrition, supplementation, timing, caloric requirement, and proper rest, they can adjust to it. As I did, I'm going to tell you, I did initially every body part 3 times a week, because in 81 in Serbia, I never had any information. So I just thought like, okay, I couldn't do the whole body, but I did half body, Monday and Wednesday and Friday, and the other half, so I thought the more is better, until I realized, okay, maybe I should cut it down to 2. And many times in my career, I actually just did once a week, what you said, once a week each body part, but I would just crash it. So yeah, naturals, 1,000,000% should train just like enhanced. The only difference, they're probably not going to be as strong, because this is what doping is, okay? And this is what I want, because we're going to touch the subject later on, with brainwashing and information that you're getting from, the authorities and through the science. Initially, back in the 70s and 80s, if you read, anabolic steroids don't do nothing.
That's right.
For your physical performance. 0, right?
I know.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we all know, but this is, you read and you believe, okay. Why is it doping? Why everybody that takes it is superior physically, bigger, stronger, faster? Because it does work. So all this information that we are reading, and then is going to be some questions today, I'm sure. I want you to realize, are you the victim of reading a scientific research and then just saying, okay, I believe you? Because I have this constantly, but this research, but this study, okay, let's see what is the study and what it really proved. So we're going to touch the subject later. Okay.
Well, the last part of the question I want to ask about the intra-workout nutrition, I'm skeptical that we need all these carbs if you're not using insulin. I could see if you're using insulin before you work out, after you work out, it makes the body able to process and utilize these carbs a lot better. But if someone's not using insulin, should they really be taking in all these carbs?
Okay, so that I explained this. When you use insulin, you have to maintain your glycemia. So you take so much carbs for amount of insulin that you took. So that's one of the reasons, right? But eliminate that reason completely. When I ask you, how much glucose or glycogen do you think you burn in very intense training for an hour? Okay.
Yeah.
Easily 100 grams. And Charles Poliquin back in the day pointed out to me there's up to 200 grams of glycogen that you can burn in intense workout. And that's why back in early 90s, he was recommending 200 grams of dextrose immediately after the workout, based on this is how much glycogen you're going to burn, and this is what he's going to be putting. So I'm not going to agree with maybe 200, but I'm 100% sure that any of my workout, natural or not natural, you're going to easily go through the 75 or 100. So now, if you're natural and you have a 75 grams of fast-releasing, either it's dextrose, high molecular weight, glucose polymer, anything, you're going to release this glucose and it's going to trigger your pancreas to release insulin. Now, first, you're not dipping into the energy reserve that really shouldn't be touched. Why would you touch energy reserve? That's a reserve for if needed. This is if needed. Humans have a glycogen and body fat storage and muscle mass as a stored protein, stored carbs, stored fat. When you are in deficiency, that you can survive. That's energy reserve. But this is your savings bank account. Do you touch your savings daily to buy the groceries and stuff like that? No, you go to the store, you have your, cash and you pay for it. When you go to the gym, you can use your stored or the one that you delivered. Now, the difference is when you deliver, you also trigger the insulin release. Now, there are so many studies because people say insulin doesn't do shit. You can do the actual research. Hyperaminoacidemia that happens in the presence of insulin causes tremendous increase in protein synthesis signaling. So forget about glucose. You already take BCAAs or EAAs, doesn't matter what you're taking those. Yeah. So even without the glucose, in the presence of insulin, this is going to be transported into the cells, is going to cause increased protein synthesis. I don't read too much of the science because I don't need them to tell me that water is wet, sky is blue. I open eyes and jump in a pool. But this is proven. So on that note, that you don't think that maybe naturals especially needed, because that's that extra advantage you're going to get. You don't have a anabolic support through the pharmacological agents, steroids that work on a different pathway, but you can have your endogenous anabolic hormone insulin store all the nutrients, be released, but triggered by your glucose that you're taking in between sets. So again, look, Ron, you're a million years in this sport. You follow this, you're passionate about it. And I'm glad, because you're maybe the typical bodybuilder that is now questioning, but Milos is using insulin, so he needs all these carbs to cover that insulin. Naturals don't need it. Okay, so forget about insulin intake. This is just for a natural's advice. Why would I take a glucose? Because it's going to trigger hyperglycemia. You're going to have a hyperinsulinemia right after hyperaminoacidemia. You're going to have everything hyper, okay, for a hypertrophy later. If you take this out of the equation, it's no longer maximized. Okay, now it's a little bit compromised. I always say this many times, and hear me very clearly. Anything you do in your life, you want to do maximal, optimal, or minimal. Just be gray. Be in this, like everybody else, what Arnold was saying. You don't want to be a champ? You don't want to consider what it takes to be a champ? So many guys, including this kid, Stefan River Clark, great physique. Actually, IBB Pro in the classic physique, 2016, I think he said he won. He just wanted to test himself and won, I think, his second national show. And he got pro card, but he realized he's drug free, so he cannot compete with the, and he didn't want to say, listen, I commend you for it, but why don't you be Ronnie Coleman, qualified for Mr. Olympia a couple of times before he ever touched the drugs, right? Yeah. I have a physique, men's physique, Scott Jeo from China, that when I started training, he was adamant he would never, ever, ever touch it. And he wants to be the first men's physique competitor that qualifies for Olympia, and he qualified for 2022. So, yeah, if you want to limit yourself, go ahead. I mean, why would you live this kind of life?
Good answer. Well, the next question is kind of relates to limits too. Here we go. Dr. Tony Huge had a mass blast contest over in Thailand to see who could gain the most lean muscle mass in 2 weeks using high doses of steroids, GH, insulin, and peptides. Can a person actually gain much muscle in just 2 weeks, or would the gains be fat, water, and extra glycogen in the muscles that would be lost soon after?
Okay, so, and that's probably the belief you have, right? And most of the people, and they're gonna all jump on Tony, right? So I don't know Tony whatsoever, I really don't know. And of course, already it sounds super bad. High doses of everything. High doses of everything is instantly red flag, don't do it, okay? So it's stupidity. I mean, let's face it. Anabolic steroids itself, as I said at the Generation Iron interview once, are healthy. And that was Milos claims it's healthy. Of course it's healthy. It promotes anabolism, building of the tissues, not breaking down. It's constructive, not destructive. Yeah. Okay, but so is aspirin or ibuprofen or any medication you can take of statins, or any medication you take for what is intended in a dosage intended is going to help you. Anything that you overdo it is going to be horrible. So I don't agree with the overdosage of insulin, GH, and of course. So this is stupidity. But to be 100% fair, because initially when I had many of my pros starting with the insulin, they were gaining 30 to 40 pounds in the first 4 weeks. Wow. Okay. All right. So, and we were always trying to do this very, very controlled, without, blowing up the midsection, without getting a body fat. Of course, listen, it's impossible to gain 30 or 40 pounds of a muscle mass. via 70% water, any which way, at any point when you take your weight, 70% water, then now calculate the rest. But what do bodybuilders do? We do volumize our cells. We do expand our glycogen storage and capacity, because if you look, what is the glycogen capacity for average person that has never emptied it and replenished it, or somebody that does this daily, right? Obviously, adaptation. I don't have a double-blind university study to conclude and print something now. I'm legitimate, but I don't need to be a brain scientist. When I put Dennis Wolf on the 3,500 grams of carbs for 2007 New York, and he was flat, and then 4,000 for Keystone, and he still could be fuller, and 5,000 for 3 days, right? For Olympia 2007, when he was fully loaded, right? This amount of carbs could not be stored anywhere, right? Of course, you're using glucose as a substrate of energy and all that stuff, but still, to refill the glycogen, you need it. So if you go with this maximal capacity, would be 500 grams or something, and 30% goes to liver, and that's different. So what these guys have experienced, I don't know how much they gain, but before you tell me, if you have that information, when I was going to Australia for my training camps, and I had 3 days in Melbourne, Sydney, and Perth, and sometimes I had 5 days. So the guy that did it with me, Shane Smith, he got all these bodybuilders say, okay, you want to truly do the Milos camp, twice a day workouts, let's do it with insulin and pre, intra, post, okay? Yes. In average, they were gaining 5 kilos in 3 days.
Wow.
That's 10 pounds.
Wow, more.
Okay, so now, if you're going to tell me about Milos, but yeah, okay. At that time, we didn't really measure the body fat and all that stuff, but fullness and that retention that they have, that was mind-boggling. So now imagine if you train like this, not 3 days, but 6 days a week, and then for a month, this is what was happening. And I had a pro bodybuilders like, okay, Mustafa Mohammed, for example, when he came in and first time, I said, every time he used insulin, he gained 1 kilo after first workout, 1 kilo after second workout. And he was just puzzled. So yes, I know that this is very possible. So I don't know Tony Hughes in his challenge. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people, go for it, but I didn't do it with a risk. My anabolic steroid and growth hormone dosages would be as intended. Therapeutic dosage would make sense, not to push the envelope. Let's face it, we all take it. Yeah. I said it many times. I'm 58 years old, and you look at somebody that did 33 years of, 35 from 87 of steroids. Yeah. I can confess here to it. I never regretted one day that I did it. Did I have a bad side effect? Did I have some consequences? Never. I'm first one to say it. So I'm a bad person to talk about, oh, be careful, be cautious. I was doing it, but I never abused it. I mean, many times when somebody see my protocols, it's like, oh, this is like nothing. For granted, some of the guys that come to me, they use 5 times the amount. So I lower to double the dosage that I would normally recommend, but this is still less than I have that they were doing, these kind of things. Yeah. So Tony, I really don't know. Do you know any results, what they did?
Well, they came down to 2 guys. I don't know what happened to the rest of them, but one of them ended up in the hospital, and he had to stop because his blood sugar was like 350 because he was doing 700 units of insulin a day. He was doing 200 units of Lantus with breakfast.
Hold on.
Yeah.
700 units of insulin.
Yes, correct. I'm not.
Now this is equivalent to shooting yourself right away. Put the six bullets in a in a gun and try to play a Russian roulette and try to get away with it. You're not. Yeah. I mean, okay. So how far does human stupidity goes?
Never underestimate stupid, Milos.
Yeah, I don't. But this crosses even that line.
This is a kid. He looked like a baseball player. He didn't look like a bodybuilder. He was doing 5 grams of testosterone a week, 30 IUs of growth hormone a day. And with the insulin, it was 200 long-acting Lantus with breakfast, and then 5 more meals, 100 units of the fast-acting insulin. So yeah, but he ended up in the hospital. He had to quit. The other guy, Elon Muscular, he gained 20 pounds, but that's where I don't think they did any kind of body composition test, because to me, he just looked like it was fat and water. It didn't look like muscle mass.
It's probably because this is completely unreasonable, and I'm sad to hear it. Again, I don't know nothing about Tony to that extent. I heard that he's a little bit, out there, and that
he's outrageous. He does things that are just, for shock value, for video views, and just to be entertaining.
Okay. I mean, why don't you also throw the people into the cage with a hungry tiger and see if they're going to survive? So
I'd watch
or a
that.
crocodile tank.
So
no, this doesn't make sense. I mean, listen. Yes, in my example, your glycogen is going to be super natural. Can you really build the tissue in 3 days or 2 weeks or 1 month? Slowly, very little bit, yes. It's not going to be like a major, very well, it took you 13 years of hard work. It took me 7 years. It's not overnight, but even the baby steps in the right direction is going to get you. So if you do what I was doing, okay, I now potentiated everything. I maximized everything. These guys did gain, 5 kilos, which is incredible, and they were delighted. But this is not something that, like you say, is going to retain. If you stop training, glycogen goes away, glucose is released, water is released, and you're slowly coming back to normal. But to say that crazy effort in the gym and all these anabolic hormones did not build any muscle, that's also wrong. I mean, that kind of thing, nobody should ever done it. Nobody should ever do it. So, I completely disagree with that. Oh my God.
Yeah, let's go to a calmer question, training question. What do you suggest for bringing up stubborn body parts that has not changed in years? Would you train it more often with more volume? Would you try different techniques? Because I'm sure you run into this with athletes all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Now, again, there's 2 views. Many, and I see reputable guys. I've seen Dorian Yates the other day in some videos. He say like, your weak body part you're doing, you shouldn't train more because then you're gonna overtrain. Yeah. So he was all about that overtraining and just initiate one set all out. I disagree, because for me, every training is a stimulus and anabolic opportunity. So if I wanna anabolize and build, why do I train in the first place? If training once, one set or one whatever, doesn't trigger the growth at all, then I understand. But if this activity, training, stimulates protein synthesis, is going to create hypertrophy, then how can you tell me that more is not better? Okay, considering that you have a proper recovery, proper nutrition, and proper rest. I said this a million times. There is no overtraining. There's under eating and under sleeping and this kind of stuff. So for a body part that is not functioning or not growing, genetically, I mean, my arms were pathetic, right? And it's yeah. So, but I greatly regret it, because by the 97, I mean, I still, because somebody's going to say, look at him, he's fake. I use acetylene, for example, that was formable on anabolic steroid at the time, that when you inject it, it creates some inflammation, but actually keeps the natural anatomy correct, and it actually makes it even harder. So, when this was available, we used it, it was beautiful, right? So I did that. But as far as training, I got them with the different methods to the point that, okay, now catching up, but then I want to accelerate it and did a stupid Synthol, which I regretted, the biggest mistake of my life. Yeah. But for my guys, when they come in, oh, this guy has no legs or no chest. And I had a guys literally telling me, oh, Milos, I don't feel my quads. I said, say it again. Quads, you don't feel it. That's okay. You're going to feel it in 15 seconds. So either I'm going to put you on leg extension machine, I'm going to let you lock up his feet like a maniac for 15 seconds, you're going to start, or I'm going to get you into squat, 3-way squat, hack squat, any kind of split machine, doesn't matter. And it gets you go super slow and stay there like right below parallel for 5 seconds, at the parallel for 5 seconds, and then right above the parallel for 5 seconds. So what are you gonna see? All of a sudden, legs are shaking and shit. Or any other muscle, right? Those people have a hard time establishing that mind to muscle connection, and they go to the gym to just lift weights. And if doesn't matter what muscle, doesn't matter what exercise, if you command your body, okay, do the squat, do the bench, do this, do that, you don't command that one muscle, right, to do the job. So I like to first establish, okay, let's find it. And then you have that zone, burn zone that I call. I establish the burn zone in every exercise. From where does it start and where does it end? Okay, so as Arnold was saying, don't count the reps. If it's not burning, it's not working, right? So start counting is start burning, okay? But this is just normal reps. You can do this on the first rep already. Try to find the burn. Look for, learn to burn. That's what I say. Okay, learn to burn. And then when you're burning, okay, can I do anything else to enhance this burn? Oh, how can I do it? Do it a little slower and squeeze a little crazier, right? There are different levels of a little bit or more. I said this many times. Every muscle, biceps. Most of the people do the curls, and even though the full range of motion, and they use enough strength to move it from A to B, right? But they didn't really squeeze the life out of it. They didn't squeeze that juice out of the lemon that I said, right? So once you have this kind of ability, first you establish mind to muscle. Good. Now you apply the load. Now you find the strength curve. Where is the worst? Okay, in which position? Okay, then put the heavier. And I'm going to say that also. I'm not so specific about all this most proper form, scapula, this and that, depression, the protract, retract, all that stuff, Yeah. If I think of a scapula or a humerus or any other bone, I'm thinking of the bone, I'm not thinking of the muscle. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, all this stability, mobility, properties, yeah, okay, to the point. But as John Brown was saying this in this one interview with Sean Ray, when he goes like, nowadays you go to the gym and you see everybody, you're doing this rope push downs, and it's like with a whistle face. He's, and I know as much as he's exaggerated, it's like, yeah, or most of the people are going to the gym and picking the easiest goddamn exercise, usually unilateral, one arm, because it's so goddamn easy. And then you can make those faces a proper form, a longer range of motion bullshit. Fight the weight, lift the weight. This is how John was, so there are times that you can isolate and squeeze and all that stuff, but then it comes the time, okay, now put the goddamn weight and lift that sucker, right? Ronnie Coleman style, Dorian, Branch Warren, whatever else. Yeah, so what if you're cheating a little bit? So what if you use inertia, right? This is that one thing that I fight with some of the experts. Yeah, you have to initiate from a primary mover. Okay, if you didn't initiate from the primary mover, you initiated with some secondary, but then within 2 inches, now primary mover takes over and you can do double the weight that you can initiate that lift. Okay, this is not new stimulus. I mean, really. So I've been on both sides of the fence. Just play this, play clean and play dirty. And then I learned play both ways to accomplish. I mean, really, for me is, maximize. So if it's stubborn body part, first what I said, establish a mind to muscle connection, find that burn zone, learn to burn. So if your whatever weak body part is not responding, find the exercise that you can truly, honestly feel that crazy burn. Beautiful. Then squeeze the life out of that muscle. Squeeze like it owes you money, if somebody says, or like your life depends on it, right? Yeah. And then try to put a little bit more load. On the other question, more frequent or less frequent? more frequent. I'm going to have to make the shirt, more is more. It's always been, always will be.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's funny. The people that are always complaining about you have to always have perfect form, and that's all they ever do is perfect execution. They're never very big. Never.
They never change because they're going to their comfort zone. I mean, look, of course, I'm going to tell you. So I'm going to bring this as well. I mentioned some natural athletes. I'm super proud, you know, blessed. I started training Hunter Campbell, UFC business, chief business officer. Okay. And the way he hired me, he really said, okay, I want you to kill me. Okay. Yeah, I want you to put me through the craziest workout. Like, whoa, drug free for life, right? Mm-hmm. Very athletic. He was a tennis player. He does martial arts. He runs. I mean, the other day he just decided to run a marathon, so he ran a marathon. I mean, this kind of athlete. Wow. So let me tell you, first workout, I did like every exercise for legs there was in a Kilo gym, beautiful gym. He survived. And then second, third, fourth. It's not like I was trying to impress him. I took it literally. Okay, you want me to try to kill you? I tried to kill you, right? But then after 2 weeks, he goes like, why don't you train with me? And it's just like, okay, let me try, right? And there's no way I can follow him. He was like, you know, there's a super set and a 3 set and a giant sets, and then there's a hunter set. This guy would add a couple of different exercises on top of my crazy giant set, and then, okay, why not? 100 reps in a, you know, V squat. I mean, yeah, I would do 100 reps on a leg extension, maybe leg press sometimes, but no. He finds the worst possible exercise, and then, you know, let's do the 100 reps. And then we actually did a 250 rep in the giant set. But what I want to say, this guy is prime example, drug-free, right?
Yeah.
And super busy businessman, and then runs 10 miles usually in the morning, and still does this kind of training on the first question of natural athletes, should they or shouldn't they? Yeah. That's one example that I forgot to mention. So yeah, he had, for example, also initially, maybe he didn't feel the biceps that much. He did everything perfect, but he didn't have that element. Okay, now I squeeze the life out of it and find that burn zone. And now, I mean, I'm embarrassed to be compared with him. He does everything perfect, and I can't even do the reps. I can do the weight, and I can do it proper form. So IBB is greatly failing over UFC. I'm not representing you guys quite good.
Well, I mean, you know, you're 58, Milos. I'm sure the 28-year-old Milos would have been right there with him.
That's what I keep saying when I was your age.
It's true, though. It's true. I say that to the young guys all the time. I said, when I was your age, I would have trained you into the ground.
Yeah,
you know? Please.
But you know what? Back in the day when I was younger, and these old farts come and tell me this again.
I know. That's how I was.
Yeah.
Shut up, old man.
Shut up, old man. You never did nothing. But yeah, I mean, I'm actually quite shocked. Like when Kenny Lebroni came back, and he was still doing 4 or 5 plates behind the neck, and Jesus Christ. Yeah. I mean, I can't do. Not even half. I can't even do the half of the weight. You know, pisses me off.
I used to do 140s for shoulder presses. How much you think I can do now with a dumbbell? 0.
65.
That's right. Nothing. 0. with this on, because I need a new.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. You did a video about this, but we can never talk about it, intermittent fasting, enough. People think it has a lot of benefits for your health, even for performance. I've even heard some bodybuilders say they do it. Do you think intermittent fasting is a good idea for bodybuilders? So just so people know what that is, that's not eating, I think 12 to 16 hours a day. You don't eat at all, nothing. And then for 8 or 12 hours, I guess it depends. You eat as much as possible. You try to get all your food in during that time. Good idea, bad idea? I know you don't think it's a good idea.
It's a horrible idea, but hold on a second. So I'm going to go step by step, because after you told me that, so let me pull some scientific studies. So here's, you know, John Hopkins medicine. You guys can Google it, you know, anytime. And then intermittent fasting benefits. Okay, so thinking and memory. Studies discovered that intermittent fasting boosts working memory in animals and verbal memory in adult humans. Oh, sounds good. Okay. Working memory in animals. Animals are working and they're going to improve a working memory. Animals think like humans of two things, food and sex. Okay. You're going to look for a food. Yeah. When you're hungry, you're going to goddamn look for more food. It's going to improve your working memory. Okay. Shit. And verbal memory in adult humans. Yeah, sure. Physical performance. Young men who fasted for 16 hours showed fat loss while maintaining a muscle mass. I wonder for how many days. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Yeah, he's gonna lose fat and maintain a muscle. Who are you effing kidding, right? Or mice who were fed on alternate days showed better endurance in running. Are you serious? You know, are you serious? I mean, this is that brainwashing studies. This is a reputable website and the research done and all this shit. Give me a goddamn break. And there is a million other things. I mean, so longevity, autophagy, the blood pressure, diabetes. So this really, it's like it regulates your type 2 diabetes. So you're restricted here, and now you have a window you can do whatever, and they do whatever. Type 2 diabetes is caused by frequent high elevation of blood sugar level, high elevation. So when you eat shit, sugars and all this stuff, boom, you boost, hyperglycemia happens, beta cells have to produce that much, and this repeatedly is going to get you there. If you are fasting and then you just let the dog off the leash, they're going to eat whatever they want, and they're going to usually eat the wrong things. So intermittent fasting. First, fasting is not eating, starving. Okay. Food restriction. Oh, restriction. Let's focus on, you want to restrict your life in any which way? You want to restrict your sexual life? Okay, so let's do the intermittent abstination, sexual or whatever else. So for 10 months, you can have sex, and then 2 months, go ahead.
Oh,
you know, it's good for you. It's heart healthy. It prevents diabetes and cancer and all this shit. It regulates this and this and that. Hormones. Who are you people kidding? This is one type of diet. There was also some, where is it? I have to find it. Yeah, so here, diabetes and obesity. In the animal studies, intermittent fasting prevented obesity. And in 6 brief studies, obese adult humans lost weight through intermittent fasting. Oh my God. Fat people, obese people actually fasted a little bit and they lost weight. Oh, give these people a Nobel Prize. Of course, if a fatso that eats burgers all day long and is going to be pulled away from 35 burgers to 3, is going to lose weight. I mean, but this is kind of nonsense that is served and just people suck it up. Intermittent fasting, whatever time restricted, or they have that ADF, alternate day fasting. So 1 day you do, 1 day you don't. And then they have a 5 days, this 2 days, or 12, 14, 16, 18, whatever hours. Yeah. It's restricted, limited. Why would you limit yourself? Oh, because you got yourself out of the perfect metabolic state and caloric requirement, and now you stored wrong thing, body fat. If you're smart and you didn't ever store the body fat, you just store your aminos into the muscle tissue and the glucose into the glycogen storage, you would never have that problem. So as bodybuilders, I mean, let's face it, not too many scientists give bodybuilders enough respect to realize, oh, these bro scientists actually, like myself, I was lean for 30 years, okay? I ate like a storm and I didn't gain fat. Why? Because I regulated my metabolism, right? And I ate timely what I'm supposed to be doing. So if every human being eats according to their needs, okay, At every given time, you have enough amino acids from protein, carbohydrates from glucose from carbs, and fatty acids and triglycerides from fat, enough calories to get all your physiological and metabolic needs. Everything is working perfectly, like car. You're driving the car, you need the gas, you add it, and stuff like that. This is it. But once you get obese, and once you get in the problem that now we have to apply some kind of diet, and diet is multi-trillion-dollar business, right? So now let's make something. So of course, fasting sounds good. And now we need reputable doctors to get some acute, this temporarily, daily, minutely, okay, something that happens that can register, and this is now posted, it's like such a body. This is longevity. Listen, if I'm going to live 17 minutes longer than average because I starved myself for 30 years doing my intermittent fasting, and I was constantly hungry, because I'm hungry, I'm irritated, I have cravings, I'm having even digestive issues. Yeah, believe it or not, I know a lot of those people that they have sleep disturbance. Just when you read, this is possible side effects for any medication, now for any diet. Many side effects can happen in intermittent fasting. One of the things is also they talk about metabolic switch. Oh yeah, you actually increase metabolism in intermittent fasting. I mean, are you serious? I mean, seriously, it's maybe it was registered for 17 seconds in first day of study, something that I mean, you want to tell me that what is the base of our diet? Why do we eat so frequently? Don't shut down your metabolism, right? You were also talking about this. If I starve you and I create a 500,000, 2,000 calorie caloric deficit, you're in survival mode, your body's going to try to survive, it's going to shut down every possible process that can be shut down, it's going to lose metabolically active tissue, muscle tissue, just to survive. So how can fasting increase your metabolism? Because one study in whatever university, bullshit. I mean, really, come on, people, start thinking with your own head. Don't follow what is served to you. I mean, this is how it is. When somebody has especially commercial benefits and business possibility, okay, let me now wash your brain and just tell you what you want to hear. Oh, starve, you're going to live longer. Oh, starve, you're going to have a better heart, brain health, the whole renal, hepatic, everything, every system is going to be primed. You are starving, you're limited. People are supposed to eat. People need nutrients, not 6 hours of the day. They need nutrients 24 hours of the day, and you can spread them correctly. So yeah, I'm strictly against intermittent fasting. I don't know. What's your opinion on it? I mean, listen, hate
it. That's my opinion. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, I have doctors that I very much respect, and that they have to just consider. But those doctors, they're working with obese patients, with diabetic people, and all these kind of patients that needs to now be put in some kind of control. And they choose this one because this is kind of easiest thing, right, to control. If I'm going to just take away for 16 hours and then give you a little bit, can fatso be punished and suffer a little bit? Yeah, they can. You get yourself, but this is not long-term diet. That fatso is going to be hungry and is going to probably, just like bodybuilders, right? When you starve yourself and, after the contest, you're off the leash and then you eat whatever you want. Yeah. It's a just bad idea. Why don't you instead listen to the bodybuilders? We have a small, frequent meals filled with nutrients of choice, timely. And then if you want to have a little caloric deficit each and every meal for every 3-hour period, tweak it right there, but nourish the body and then eliminate some calories that you can eliminate. It's not going to affect you negatively. Here, you're eliminating everything for 16 hours. And then, yes, just because scientific studies has shown bullshit. I'm sorry to be blunt. I'm irritated with these kind of things.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest difference between most people that go to the gym and bodybuilders, mind muscle connection, we'll factor that out, is that we do eat these much more frequent meals. Most people that go to the gym, they eat 3 times a day like the regular. So they're basically fasting hours and hours and hours without even knowing it. Whereas bodybuilders are feeding their body every 2 to 3 hours. And that's why the results they get from their training are so much more apparent. They get so much more muscle mass, less body fat, a totally different body composition. And it's just because of the more frequent feedings. That's my feeling on it.
Yes, but now let's talk about the remainder of the humanity. And everybody should not neglect the physical the element, right? Intellectual is very good. Yeah, you should study and get educated and think with your own head and all this stuff. But physically, you should not just neglect and do nothing, because many people, because say, oh, we train and we eat like this, but many people never go to the gym. Oh, really? You don't do any physical work, period, in your home, at your place of work, and you don't have any desire to be a little physical and maybe wake up those muscles and maybe build some tissue and maybe prevent aging, because first cause of aging is loss of muscle mass and body recomposition that happens. You're less active, your age, your muscle mass declines, and that causes cascade of all the aging signs. So yeah, everybody should train, and then if they train, they should realize, feed your body, feed every tissue with the nutrients it's needed. Yeah.
Okay, next one. Why are some people able to get away with doing a minimal cardio to get into great condition while others have to do as much as 2 hours a day? Is it all related to how fast the metabolism is, how lean they stay in the off season, or are there some other factors involved?
Well, yeah. So just yesterday, I've seen that Nick Trigili did the video, and he used Fuad, Jan Valier, and Nick Walker, right? They were talking something about how much cardio they do. And then I guess Jan Valier never does more than 30 minutes. Wow. And then they had some explanation. Look, why do we do cardio? Why? First, anything you do, you have to have a reason why you do it, okay? Oh, we do the cardio because we can burn some body fat. Cardio as a physical activity, contrary to weight training, doesn't use glucose for muscle contraction. This uses, fatty acids. Oh, so substrate that is used is fat. Good. You don't eat fat. First thing on empty stomach, you do the cardio. Fat needs to be used. My blood, where from? Well, it's going to, burn some body fat. So now, how much? But yeah, well, is 30 minutes going to burn as much as 60 minutes? Nope. I mean, come on. If you drive the car, to the first city or to the next city that is so much further, twice the distance, where you're going to, use more fuel. The same thing here. If you want to burn fat, and cardio is the reason why you're doing fat, then burn a little bit more. I wouldn't even, suggest anything under 40 minutes. Of course, when I was working with Max Charles, and I told him he was doing 20 minutes. So we negotiated to 23 minutes.
3 extra minutes.
And then I was in one of the shows that was so funny. I went to the hotel gym, and there he was doing cardio. I don't know if you've seen my video when I did the supersonic cardio in China. I mean, these people really sit on a recumbent bike, and then it is like super slow motion. Like you think that this is even impossible to go that slow, right? Yeah. This is how slow they were going. Like, oh my God. So kind of I glanced at Max, he was going super slow. But listen, he has no fat. I mean, the guy is a genetic freak and he could get away with it. But so on that note, Can somebody get away with it? Yes. But if you have a lot of body fat and we need to get you in shape in 4, 6, 8, 10 weeks, whatever, right? That's my fat burning zone. Okay. So if you wake up in the morning on empty stomach, you do the cardio, 100% guarantee you're going to burn some body fat. Now, the remainder of the day, I just have to control it, maintain a caloric requirement from meal to meal, maybe, get you anabolic during the training, and then try to do a little bit more cardio later. So Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, back in the day, they did two cardio sessions. I did it sometimes when needed, when I needed to hurry up and get there. It's some experts also agree, disagree. Okay, fast metabolism, it's a kind of myth, right? But it's just like doing the right things. Yeah, you have a certain amount of muscle mass, right? And you didn't screw up your diet with a stupid diet, starvation diet, to shut down your metabolism. So if you're shut down, okay, then now you have to wake it up. So the cardio of choice in these instances would be that high intensity intervals. They say, because that now doesn't just burns fat, it uses fats and glucose, both, okay? So it's not just cardio, it kind of gets you also the muscle contractions, because if you go all out, like a sprinters, right? That's why 100-meter dash sprinter looks like a bodybuilder, and long distance runner doesn't. So, but when you do those intervals, I'm sure you did it, you feel jacked, amped up, like for, this thing does elevate your metabolism. But now you have to account, okay, I burn both carbs and fat. There's that, I think we talked about this once, RER, respiratory exchange ratio. When this coefficient, if it's 1, you just use glucose only. If it's 0.7, you use just fat only. But if it's anything in between, you use both. Sure. So intervals, for sure, use both. But it elevates your metabolism. So intervals cannot be done for a long time, because it's so intense. But combining, okay, you need to wake up your metabolism. I would get you more frequent meals, even more. A lot of experts, again, they're going to disagree that thermic effect of feeding, it doesn't matter if you eat 2,000 calories in one meal or 3 meals or 6 meals, and then they have a scientific study that shows. Give me a break, okay? I do say, I would always consider what is served there, but then I'm going to apply it, try it, and then multiply with so many clients and see where is the real research. How did they do that research? Seriously, any research, I don't know if you ever thought about it, any research that needs to be done, whatever we want to choose right now, if we need to find 1,000 subjects, where are we going to find them?
College.
And then who really is going to be as committed as bodybuilders that, that I've wrote every single meal, every single gram, you too, because I remember that you had a journal, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We are committed, and even some of us cheat here and there. And this is a profession, and we give our heart and soul into it. Now, these 1,000 people are going to be paid whatever, $100 a day or something, right? Yeah. And I'm supposed to be doing, okay, no, I don't train, but they want me to train. Okay, I'm going to do it. What exercise they're going to do? Or some plantar flexion. This is what I actually read it. They did plantar flexion. Okay, they sometimes do leg extension, and then they measured this thing. And let me put this now into the graph, and then I'm going to make it look so good. And let's say if we gain, we were talking about what, 40 pounds a month, right? Which is ridiculous. But they're going to gain half pound a month. They're not going to use half pound. They're going to use now not grams, not milligrams, not micrograms, nanograms or picograms, right? So now it's 1,000, 100,000 minutes, and the graph is going to look like this. Oh my God. Wow. This is what pisses me off about everything, including supplement industry or anything. They're going to list on the label, okay, yeah, there is 17 micrograms of creatine. Okay, and there is 2 nanograms of L-carnitine. Okay, most of the people say, oh, it has everything. Good, I'm taking it. You just had a spit in the ocean thing.
Yeah.
It don't do nothing, but it's all listed. And your ignorance is you don't know how much you're supposed to be taking. Okay,
Right.
So now if you do the cardio, what you were saying, some people get away and not get away with it. Be realistic. If you create dramatic caloric deficit, 1,000, 2,000 calories a day, you're going to shut down your metabolism. Okay, you're going to initially burn some body fat. It's going to be nice, beautiful. Okay, you're succeeding, you step on the scale, but your body is adapting slowly. Okay, you know, I just dumped you on an empty island and I'm feeding you 2,000 calories less than you're supposed to. You know, your body, okay, it has a message, survival mechanism, shut down all the metabolic processes and physiologically try to get rid of what burns the most calories, right? Muscle, and just try to be there because you need to survive. You need to survive. And that happens each and every day. That's why even this, what do you call it, intermittent fasting or anything. This is literally jumping from a high-rise building. It feels great until you hit the ground, right?
Yeah.
Because everything you do, it has a start and a finish, right?
Yeah.
And if you started, did you consider what is the finish? Okay, so that intermittent fasting, okay, you're going to do briefly for whatever reason, but realize first, you're restricting, you're limiting. We should be free humans with no limitation and do everything, to our best benefits. Now, don't get yourself fat so you don't have to diet. But if you now have to diet, okay, choose, even if it's combination of intermittent fasting and some bodybuilding type of fat loss. I think that we have proven time and time, millions of times again, how many millions of bodybuilders showed up on the stage in front of millions of people watching around the world, ripped to the bone, or not maybe as ripped, but in a great condition that any average human can only dream about being. Hey, millions of bodybuilders are doing this day in, day out, every single day with our bodybuilding diet principle. Okay, frequent, small feedings, high protein, and then restricting carbs and fats accordingly. Okay, we should be scientific study with the 20 million bodybuilders. 20 million bodybuilders lost body fat, and here's the proof. Picture here. You don't even have to do any goddamn body fat studies. Here's the. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
We have proven time and time again. But here comes some scientist and doctor that, by the way, wrote the book. There is a bestseller, and is selling some supplements with it, and telling you that you should go in ketosis rather than use your glucose. Ketones are preferential fuel, and it's going to clear your mind and all that stuff. Brain needs glucose. To my knowledge, since 30 years ago, brain uses like 500 calories worth, 125 grams of glucose. If you actually use brain. If you don't use it, you don't need it.
Oh, man. All right. Our final question, Milos. Do you believe bodybuilders should take layoffs of a week to several weeks, at least a couple of times a year, or only if they are truly overtrained? You love that word.
Yeah, if they're truly overtrained, I would take some time off. I would never take 2 weeks off. I mean, look, everybody's going to disagree with me. I know that Ronnie Coleman took some time off. And it took everybody that took Kevin Levrone, took like 6 months off. You know, shit. But it goes the whole idea of periodization also. When they have this microcycle, mesocycle, and just the periodization. Again, somebody is telling me what I should follow, that when it's too much. So on that note, I was trying to bring more intensity and more volume, more frequency, more load, everything. And I was progressing constantly. I didn't need to deload or this and that. I didn't. when Hidetaya Magishi came, as you know,
Yeah.
I trained him like a maniac instantly. And every other person that come in, I don't have a concept of taking the time off. The biggest mistake of my life is in 99, I think I mentioned this before, I competed in every organized show in 99, any IBB Pro show.
Yeah.
There was, I didn't, okay? And because it's you know, 2000, right? It's millennium.
Yeah.
So my wife, my ex-wife, you know, asked, you know, a few people around me, right there, you know, including Lee Haney, right? Oh, do you think you should be competing? And then Lee, of course, you know, trying to, you know, be a nice guy and say, like, oh, Milos, you need some time for the family. You need to take some time off and all this stuff. So you see, you know, you need time off. And okay, so I decided to take 2 months off. First time in my whole life. And after 2 months, I had zero motivation to come back.
Wow.
After 6 months, it took me forever to get back. I didn't need that, right? I just got lazy. So on that note, should I take a time off? The way I was taking a day off is, or 2 days off, is if I really feel overtrained. If I feel overtrained, right?
Yeah.
And I rest day or 2 days, and I feel I'm completely rested. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I have to do like for the 12 more days just because somebody prescribed me that maybe 2 weeks is no, hell no. I mean, I never did it in my life, you know, this whole career except 99, which pretty much ended my whole career. I think that 99, if you follow my competitions, was very successful. I didn't like my body. I blew up. I was big, right? So I placed second at Ironman beside Chris Cormier.
Yeah.
I beat Jay Cutler. I had Jay. I always have to say
that. Good job.
Yeah, and because of course I'm proud of that. And then Jay beat me a week later at the Arnold Classic, but I was top 5. Right? There was Nasser, Kevin, Chris, Jay, myself. Then there was Vince Taylor, Dexter Jackson. There was a huge lineup, but I was there. I didn't plan to do the Night of Champions in Canada, but you know, I was in shape. I planned some guest posing, didn't happen. So last minute, I went to the Canada and I placed second. I lost to Pavel Yablonitsky, and then I went to Night of the Champions. It was top 5. That's the time that I really wanted to experiment of shit loading. I'm gonna eat anything and everything. That's a different story, a different day. But then I did Olympia top 10, and I did Italy and British Grand Prix, which was best show on earth. Remember, there was Ronnie first, Flex second, Kevin, Dexter. Wow. Then I was there ahead of Nasser and Marcus. I mean, so my 99 was actually directing me, okay, towards high placings. And then I did this 2 months off that became a 6 months off that became forever off. I never get back that urge.
Wow.
It's not never, but by the time I get it, like 2006, and I get myself back in shape, then 2007, I was suspended. So, but I'm digressing to answer your question. No, I don't believe that anybody should give up 2 weeks worth of possible improvements. You see, for me, every single day is an opportunity to improve. It's not like I'm just training. For people that just train, okay, if you train, okay, and you feel like kind of overtrained because you really did stimulate the muscle, you caused the growth, okay, you're progressing right now, beautiful. Why on earth would you? No, because somebody told you that 2 weeks is necessary.
Yep.
It's not necessary. 2 days might be all that you need. This is how I look at it. But of course, listen, in this society, mediocre society that just misery loves company. Nobody wants to see a champs. Everybody wants to see, in Serbia, we say, as long as my neighbor's cow dies, I would be happy. Not that, because something bad happened to him and he doesn't have more milk, right? Then my cow is good. It's a stupid thing, right? Why would you? I'm always into maximizing. If you you, okay, some people do take vacations or whatever, but this whole periodization thing also, I talked to some businessmen. It's okay, you periodically, once your business, okay, now you're gonna shoot for a growth, and now you need to deload. Take a time off, 2 months. You know, it's a business.
Right.
You want to continue business and run. This is our sport. This is what we do. This is what we should be doing every day, not taking 2 days, 2 weeks off, unless it's some vacation and, you know, something that you do for different reasons. Not just, I need to take a day, week off, month off, you know.
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, Ronnie, people got that idea that because Ronnie took 3 months off at the Olympia, they go, okay, well, Ronnie did that, I should do that too. But
imagine if he didn't.
I mean,
this is what I always tell them when somebody tried to prove me wrong, but this guy didn't do it, and look at him. Yeah. And I mean, I remember back in the day, Melvin Anthony, when looking at the pictures there, it looked great. I didn't tell you I had a chocolate cake and all this stuff, right? And I still get away with it, you see?
Yeah.
I say, yeah, your glutes showed that, you know, but imagine if you didn't take it. I mean, so all that kind of stuff. Or Arnold and back in the days, they didn't have something that we did now, right? But they still look good. So you see, they didn't need all these supplements, you know, they look great. Imagine if they have those supplements, you know? So there's always that, for me, it's honesty. Are you throwing everything on the table, maximizing nutrition? Did you? Oh, do you have enough protein? No, because George Farrar said you don't need it.
That's right.
Especially not more than 25% animal protein, because, you know, that's proven to be proven in a Disney journal of a Mickey Mouse diet. You know,
well, you'll die 17 minutes sooner, as you said.
Yeah, a lot of people, including the guy that just came, Stefan, drug-free athlete. He came to the gym and he really doesn't use the supplements. And I say, why you don't use supplements? But, well, you know, he's satisfied with his results, with his already achieving, right? So he didn't think it's necessary. I say, I understand, and you look phenomenal by all means. But this you use for this reason, that reason, that reason. So we explain him. He said, oh, that does make sense. Okay, so let me try it. So anybody that is listening to this, there's a lot of super valuable supplements. Yeah, supplements itself as a word is something to supplement, add to your nutrition. So it's not base of your nutrition. You need your macros, you know, you need to cover that. But all these performance enhancements that you can have in natural compounds that can increase your energy and strength and power and endurance. That's valuable tool that you can, especially if you're natural, you can implement. Unless you're one of those naturals that also think that creatine is
steroid.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, you've been very generous with your time. I heard your phone going crazy the whole time we were talking, from clients trying to get a hold of you. So thank you so much for letting us once again into the mind, inside the mind of Milos Sarcev, brought to you by JYM Supplement Science. Yeah, great show, Milos. Appreciate you imparting all your knowledge and experience with us. This is cool.
Yeah. I just, you see, I don't know if people get offended with my sarcasm sometimes, but I think to make a point, sometimes you have to, you know,
everybody's
well, you know what I did yesterday?
So
yeah, I'm going to tell you this, especially you're on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
So Giles made a comment about 94 German Grand Prix, that he talked something about meeting Kevin at the British Grand Prix, and then he says, like, oh, Kevin convinced him to be a reporter and writer in you know, sport of bodybuilding. Yeah. So I just wanted to be funny, like, oh yeah, next time you see Kevin, you should smack him, in the sense of, like, he should tell you to go in some other sport that can make you more money, right?
Ooh,
I got a warning from Instagram, right? This is violence. I'm promoting the violence, and they can take my account. Like, oh shit, it was a joke.
I can beat that story, Milos. Last week, we were talking about, Nick Trigili had mentioned in one of his videos, he started taking steroids at 15. And in a thread where we were commenting on it on Facebook, just on a Facebook post, I said, if my son was using steroids at 15, I would kick his ass. And I got banned for 24 hours from Facebook just for saying that. Because it's like violence or threats, or I'm like, no, whatever.
And actually, this is my second violation. And I guess third strike and you're out.
Oh,
the first violation is there's something about, killing in sense of I'm killing you in the workout, right? So when you come to workout, to be killed, right?
Yeah.
So I responded that way. And using that word is like, oh my God. And that was the first warning that for some reason, I didn't even see it. Now, when I got the second, it's the second warning and 3 strikes and you're out, like, wow. Oh man, I have to now really think deeply before I answer something. You can't be sarcastic.
What a world we live in today. What a world. Oh,
yeah.
It's become pussified. I said it. Anyway, thank you so much, Milos. Thank you for sharing all this with us. Appreciate it very much. Guys, we appreciate you watching. Please subscribe, like, comment. You can argue with Milos. He doesn't care. He loves it. He loves going back and forth with you guys on YouTube. He welcomes it. It's good. Debate, because we're not all the same. We don't have the same opinions. It's cool. So please do that. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, do all that. And we'll see you next time right here on Inside the Mind with Milos Sarcev. Thanks for watching.
See you soon.